Welcome back to Adobe Photoshop. Today we're going to be taking a look at quick keys that you should actually be using to increase your workflow and speed when working inside of Photoshop. So it's just one thing to know how to use Photoshop, but one thing you can do to really improve your speed in Photoshop is to learn how to use some quick keys. And so we're going to walk through a variety of quick keys that you might know, that you might have heard me talk about before, and some that you probably haven't heard, so you can increase your workflow and speed and just make the program in general a whole lot faster. Let's slide on over to Adobe Photoshop and learn some quick keys. You are working in Adobe Photoshop and you work in a destructive manner where you're not making adjustment layers, you're just adjusting curves. If you were to come up here and go to Image, Adjustments, you'll notice down here we've got some adjustments here. So what we're going to do is learn some quick keys for there. The first quick key we're going to learn is for curves. That is Command or Control M to bring up curves. The next quick key is for levels. So Command or Control L, that brings up levels. And Command or Control U brings up hue saturation. Now, there are others, but those are the main ones that I use. The one other one is Command B, that brings up color balance. I don't use color balance a lot in Photoshop, but if you do, it is Command B. All right, so those are just the main adjustments when you are working in Photoshop. Now, a lot of times inside Photoshop, you want to duplicate your layer. So if you want to duplicate your layer, you can hit Command J, Command or Control J, and that will duplicate your layer. Now on the next quick key, we're going to zoom in a little bit here on this photo. So a lot of times you get into your image, but maybe you want to see up here. So the quick key to get the move tool, which would normally be around here, but I've actually eliminated it because I don't use it at all, because I hit the space bar and that gives you that hand and that allows you to kind of move around your image. Now, the next command key is a lot of times when you zoom in, all right, and zoom in is Command plus and zoom out is Command minus. However, if you want to fill the frame, that is Command 0. And that's a quick key that I pretty much use on every single image that I work on inside of Adobe Photoshop. So let's go ahead and take a look at some quick keys that are just functional. So if we come up here to the toolbar, you'll notice that when you hover over it, it says Move Tool, and right next to it, it has the letter V. Inside of this toolbar, which is the Move Tool, it has a little arrow that we can see right there. If we click and hold that, there are other tools under it. Notice the quick keys for those are also V. So what happens is when you use the quick key on the keyboard V, whatever tool is active, in this case, it's the Move Tool, is the one that will bring up. Right here, we have the Selection Tool, that is L. We have any of the ones under Magic Wand, that is W. The Crop Tool, which is C. Next is the Remove Tool, or any of the cloning options, that is the letter J. The letter Brush, which is B. And the last one we're going to take a look at is S for the Stamp Tool. Now, if you need to use any of those, really simple. All you need to do is click on the letter on the keyboard. So if we want to go back up to the Move Tool, I hit the letter V and boom, it toggles up to the Move Tool. Learning the quick keys for the toolbar is probably one of the most advantageous quick keys that you can learn, or set of quick keys to increase your workflow. So let's go ahead and make an adjustment layer just so we have that adjustment layer. And a lot of times when you're working in adjustment layers, your colors might not be set correctly. So if you look right here, we're at like a gray and a white. So if you hit the letter D as in dog, that brings up the default colors. So right now, white is our foreground color and black is our background color. If we wanted to flip those, we could simply hit this little arrow right here and boop, flip it. Or you can hit the quick key X and X will flip those back and forth. So the reason this is so important is there's a whole bunch of quick keys on the left side of the keyboard, because most people are right-handed, not everybody, but most people are right-handed, and they're all grouped together. And what you need to learn how to do, whether you're working with a pen or a mouse or whatever, is keep that left hand on your keyboard so you can toggle these different quick keys without really thinking about it. Now, I don't play video games because there's too many buttons and it's too complicated. But that's not really the reason why. It's hard for me to play video games because I don't do it a lot. And so hitting all those crazy buttons makes it difficult. However, when it comes to Photoshop, I have no problem toggling on all these different keyboard shortcuts. Why? Well, because I use them all the time. So it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to using these, but using these quick keys that are down on the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard is really going to be beneficial. So what are those quick keys? Well, the first quick key, we're going to come in here and make this really dark, is Command Z. So Command Z will undo or go backwards one step. Command Shift Z will redo it. So Command Z will undo it. Command Shift Z will redo it. The next is associated with any of the selection tools. So a lot of times you make a selection, all right? And then you want to add to that selection. And if you look at the selection tool right now, when I hold the Shift key, it gets a little plus next to it because I'm holding the Shift key. And when you hold Shift, you can add to your selection. And look, this Shift key works with a lot of different tools to add to. If you hold the Option or the Alt on a PC, you'll notice we get the minus. So that lets us subtract selection. So remove that. So that is Shift Add, Option or Alt as subtract. We learn that D sets the default colors. However, we hit Command or Control D, that will deselect image. All right, I can hit Command Z and bring the selection back. So I'm using both of those quick keys to kind of change what I did. You can also just click outside of a selection and that will deselect your image. So the next set of quick keys is super helpful when working inside of Adobe Photoshop. However, these quick keys work for lots of different programs, and that's the copy and paste. So the first one, and in this case, we're going to copy this whole image. And in this case, we're going to hit Command A, which is select all. So it's selecting everything. Command C, which is copy, and Command V, which is paste. And you can see it pasted that new image there. So that's Command A, Command C, Command V is in Victor, which is paste. So the next quick key is the transform function. Now, when you're using transform or a lot of these things, it's helpful to convert your image to a smart object. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a smart object by right clicking and going convert to smart object. The reason you want to create a layer as a smart object is if you use transform and you scale your image down, it resizes it. So if you try to then make it larger, it's going to fall apart and be pixelated. You want to make sure that when using transform, you turn your layer into a smart object. So we've created that as a smart object. I'm going to hit Command T, and that's going to let me transform this image. However, I may want to transform it. All right. Hit Command Z to undo that. Now, if you right click inside of the transform function, you get all the different options that you can choose inside Edit Transform to manipulate this image. Once you're done, you can either hit check, hit return, or anything, and we'll go ahead and apply that transformation to this image. So the next set of quick keys has to do with saving your image. Now, a few years ago, Adobe changed Save As to not include JPEGs in saving. However, I've been using it forever, and I prefer to have Save As a JPEG under Save As. Right now, you have to do Save a Copy to get JPEG. However, you can change that. So if you want to change it, it's really simple. You need to go into your settings, and that's in a different spot for Mac and PC. So it's under Edit for a PC. However, I'm on a Mac, so we're going to come up here to go to Settings, and I think it's under File Handling. And yeah, it says right here, Enable Legacy Save As. And you can see mine's checked. What that allows you to do is when you do Command Shift S to be able to save as a JPEG. Actually, you get access to everything. Normally, you wouldn't have Save as a JPEG available under Save As. You have to go to Save as a Copy, but checking that box gives you all the options. So the first quick key is Command Shift S, which is Save As. Command Option or Alt S gives you Save as a Copy. So that's Command Shift S as Save As, and Command Option or Alt S Save as a Copy. And those are your saving quick keys. One thing you can do to really speed up your saving workflow is to create saving actions. Now I have a video on how to create saving actions, and there's actually some actions that I've created that save that you can download for free. However, on actions, you can actually add quick keys. So you could do function S as save as for whatever you want, and that would really speed up the process because you can actually on your computer add the save as to the quick key action, and basically it will pop right up and you're ready to go. The last set of quick keys are really easy. It's Command O to open a new image. So this next set of quick keys has to do with your brush and sizing your brush. There's a whole bunch of different ways to size your brush. The last one I'm going to show you is probably the most efficient and the best way to do it, but I'm going to show you the different ways. So the first thing we need to do is use the quick key we learned for brush, which is the letter B, and boom, the brush is up. Now, if we want to size the brush, we could come up here and just click on this and get the brush size and enlarge it. Now our brush is bigger. All right. But that's not the most efficient way to work. Next to the letter P on your keyboard are bracket keys. So if you tap the right bracket, your brush gets bigger. If you tap the left brush, your brush gets smaller. So after you've sized your brush, we want to learn to control the hardness or softness of the brush. Right now I have a hard edge. You can see there's no feather on this brush. But if I hold the shift key and I tap the same quick key, which is the left quick key, and hit it a couple times and come in, now you'll see I have a soft brush. And if I hold the shift key, now if I hold the shift key again and tap the right bracket key a couple times and then I come in, my brush is hard again. However, you don't get a lot of variety. It's really quick to go from soft to completely hard. So if you really want to learn to adjust the brush, and this is really going to speed and just make your life a whole lot easier, it's probably the most complicated, but it works extremely well. So on a Mac, you're going to hold the Control and the Option key. So Control and Option key are held down. If I click, you'll notice I've got my brush. We can see my brush. It's highlighted in red. If I go to the right, my brush gets larger. If I go to the left, it gets smaller. If I go up, it gets softer. And if I go down, it gets harder. The trick with this is if you're working on PC or a Windows machine, the quick keys are completely different. So on a PC, you're going to hold the Alt and right click and then do the same thing. So Alt, right click. And what you're going to do is go left to make it smaller, right to make it larger, up to make it softer, and down to make it harder. And that is using the quick keys Alt and holding the right click down. And that's how you control your brush size inside of Adobe Photoshop. So the last set of actions we're going to take a look at here, we probably could have done these in the beginning, but we're going to do them at the end because that's when I thought of them, are just quick keys to open new files. So that first quick key, and or Control O to open the window to open a new file. Command N or Control N to create a new document. And then if you want to close a tab or a window, that is Command W, and that will close. Now in this case, it's asking me if I want to save it, and I don't want to save it, so I would just go ahead and close that window out. Now look, there's a whole bunch of other quick keys that we could learn, but those are some great basic ones to start off learning. If you have any quick keys that you really like, hey, put those down in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a second video using your quick keys. That's it for this video. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. Don't forget to subscribe and have an absolutely wonderful day.